Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining. All right, let's see. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time. Let's give everybody else another 1 minute and we'll get started. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Burning bright like the African sun. I won't stop till my victory is won. I rise up, never give you up the fight. I'm gonna make it, I'll reach the greatest height. No one can hold me down, I'm breaking free. I'm on my way to success, just what you see. From the bottom to the top, I'm rising. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody. As always, thank you, Larry. If you don't mind, smash the like and let's get more people on board as we do that. It's going to be an exciting session for my internship folks. Thank you for being part of our story the last 1 month. So it's all great right now. So in the next few minutes, we'll try and keep it as efficient as possible. We'll walk through a little bit of what we've done in the last few days or weeks in our case. So, and one of the goals we always commit to our community is every day we'll keep adding incremental value to us. Over time, as we add those values, we begin to showcase everybody's skills and strength at the end of the day. So, which is all we can control right now. So, thank you everybody for being part of it. So, what did we start with in this journey? So, we started the internship journey with week 1 by making sure we talked about what are the key things needed for a risk assessment. So, everybody on this call, I can say, feel comfortable, feel good to talk about risk assessment because it's a huge piece of the puzzle. It's a big piece of strategy in any organization conducting risk assessment. And after we selected the use case was a hospital system that deployed MRI machine, CT scan machine, X-ray machine, and decided to move this machine to their network. Now, moving into the network means they have to exercise some best practice due diligence that includes risk assessment. So we started with risk assessment. The second part of our class, we jumped in and we talked about third party risk. And we said, okay, in some cases, we would have a need to assess vendors that come to our organization. Because of that, we have to constantly evaluate the risk around those vendors in real time. Then we jumped to week 3, and in week 3, we kind of went through some best approach in terms of communicating issues. And we all talked about a model called the SBAR model. So it talks about situation, the background, the assessment analysis, then ultimately the recommendation. So it's a very good, clear thought process that helps us to articulate our communication much more effective and clear for us as an organization. So that's a big deal, and we kind of practice with it. Typically on weekends we do some working session with different groups. Then on Wednesdays we kind of just recap and try to think about it. How can we use this in an interview situation? So those are the big things we just talk about. So this past week was so exciting because this is a week where one of the lead framework out there, some of us are familiar with NIST cybersecurity framework. They released a new version 2.0, which is exciting all over the world right now. The advantage of the new 2.0 is they introduced a new function called govern. The govern model is a huge piece of the puzzle because historically, a lot of people would include leadership towards in between projects. But now we said, okay, hold on. We're going to make it that leadership is actually part of the overall framework itself. So there's a section dedicated specifically for those. The leadership angle is a huge piece of the puzzle for sure. So that is one of highlighted with the NIST cybersecurity framework, the govern model. So in an interview, somebody I would ask you for sure. I would want to know, hey, are you familiar with the NIST update right now? And you need to tell me two things. One, yes, govern is a new function that was added. That's one. Second thing you have to tell me is that it has a wider reach. In the past, they kind of focused it around critical infrastructure, but now it's much more a wider reach. So let me ask you, let's do a quick quiz if you don't mind. What are the two things in cybersecurity updated framework? Can you type it? Let's see what you got. Let's see if you're paying attention. Let's see what you got. All right, just go ahead and type it. I'll see it on my side. What are the two things that you've, if I ask you in an interview, it's okay, tell me a little bit about the updated framework. What comes to your mind? Let me see what you see. What you got? Let's see. Go ahead and post if you don't mind. All right. Okay, I think it's still coming. Okay. So I think we can agree well. Okay, governance is added. Thank you. Govern is added. That's great. Wider reach, and it includes governance. Okay. Now, sometimes we always think some of these things cannot be hacked. I can guarantee you they will. If you know your onions, if you are very in tune with your industry, I think it's fair to say you should know that really. If not, I would question um, your interaction within your peers and community of professionals. So make sure we know that. Now, if you're on this call and you've never heard any of this before, relax. I'm going to go through it again real quick. Then I'll show you one thing. Everybody on this call, I think I sent, if you're on our group, I sent you guys a new framework guide. And I'm telling you this, take it to the bank. It's a potential, like it's potential, right? It's a potential several thousands or a potentially $1 million tool I gave our community here. And what does that mean? Because you can do multiple assessment with this tool we built. What does the assessment do? It's crazy. I'll show you all in a bit. It allows you to actually go in as you're scoring different domain areas. It's showing you in real time the score card of those areas. It's crazy stuff, really. You can make it up. If you see it, I'll show you in a bit. It's just amazing, really. And the beautiful thing about it is that it covers all the domain area, govern included, to recover. So every one of those domain areas is represented. So hypothetically, I ask you as a leader, and I say, how do you do asset management? You tell me, well, we don't have policy for asset management. We don't have a tool to track asset management. Naturally, that means that's a bad, poorly maintained process. So you're going to get one for that, right? If you tell me that, well, we have a solid tool for asset management, we have trackers, and we have a tool that automatically scan our network to make sure if any new asset is added, it's documented, then it's fair to me to say, I'll give it 4 or 5 because that sounds pretty good. Sounds like you're doing something right. Okay. So that's a pretty good thing to do. So naturally we score that high also, So that's the way we kind of position ourselves. It's amazing, the tool and what it can do. So take advantage of it and leverage it big time. So I like that. Thank you, Kofi. Thank you, Mediatus. I'm just putting some comments here. This is great. I can see what you guys said. Look at the comment. Governance and range. That is true. Govern and inclusiveness of more sector. I agree with that. Now they use the word govern. That's what the term is, govern. And we're going to say it in a bit also. So this is great. So let me quickly recap and show you all a little bit to see what those key things are. And I'll be fast in talking about it. Then we jump into the actual assessment. Then we wrap up this is going to be the last class really for the program, for the internship program. Feel free, you can always go back and, rewatch all of those programs we put together. We try to do this as much as possible as I give back to our community as much as possible. So it's just an opportunity to give you good information, good insight into different areas, and I hope you can leverage them. That is the goal ultimately, to be able to leverage those information and use it effectively for yourself for interviews and execute ultimately. Of course, we have our programs that are always running. The next one is in April 27th. Feel free to jump on it. We get into more details, but always still appear and show up for all of these areas because the more you know, it just makes more sense. It's more meaningful. You can expand your knowledge base over and over again. So let's quickly run through this real quick. So what is the main thing? Remember we said expanded audience and scope. So this new framework has a wider reach. It's much more adaptive to smaller governments or smaller organizations to big organizations, and it's not limited to just critical infrastructure alone. It is across the board. So for those of us just joining, welcome on board. Two big areas in terms of the update to the govern. The govern is a new function added to this framework, right? NIST cybersecurity framework 2.0. But beside the function, it has wider outreach, which is amazing, and so that's a big deal. And the govern is really very important because in the past, historically, you sneak in leadership and governance in different functional area. But now we are saying no more. We are not doing that because we can treat it like a standalone. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you this. Most environment today, what they do is prior to this, when I do an assessment with leadership for big organizations, right? One of the things is I want to speak with the general counsel. I want to speak with your C-level executive, one of them. When I speak to them, one of the things I ask is definitely, is your board knowledgeable about cybersecurity? Most of the time, they would always tell you no or yes, but think about it. Now, at the board level, the expectation is that every one of your board members or somebody within the board must be knowledgeable about cyber threat. Now, I'll tell you this. Outside of the core business functional area of most organizations, the most important thing is always, outside of that, is always consistently the cyber threat. So outside of your core business functional area, the most important thing is going to be cyber threat to you as an organization. So it's a big deal, very, very significant. Then, of course, like I said, the government area is yellow. Remember yellow, at least, and they color code each one of those domain areas. So you see identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Govern is a bright color. So now it's like the light and spotlight is on the leadership, sun on the leadership. So it's a big deal. I like it. Um, Today, like I said, we have tools we've built. Everybody on this call, let me ask if you have access to the tool. Can you type and tell me yes, you do? If you don't, I'll send you the link again. And I'm curious to hear some of you. When you've opened the tool, how amazed were you with opening the tool and seeing what it can do? I'm kind of curious, and I'm going to send the download again so you guys can go there and download it. But I'm just kind of curious. If you don't mind, type it. I want to see what you all have seen, what have been your experience. And I think I've sent the link. Please download it. But it's amazing, folks. It is crazy in a good way. This is crazy stuff because this is an opportunity to kind of just open up a world of opportunity for you. Everybody is different, but I tell you, in your organization, if you need to do an assessment, this is the tool for you. For your personal self, if you need to do consulting service, you can use this tool. I know that because that was my world for many years too, right? Consulting angle, I was in leadership there too. So I understand how those two work and I can execute and build so quick. So when NIST came out, my team and I, we came together to build a solid tool to say, you know what, let's leverage this for our community. Thank you. Thank you. I see somebody say, all right, I love it. Zaytum said, I love it. Yeah, thank you. I want to hear more of that because we put a lot of work in it to make it successful, but leverage it and take advantage of it. If you've not downloaded it too, download it. You'll be surprised. It's amazing. Of course, the main final version will come up probably next week. But I wanted to share something with our community today first. We keep announcing it and adding some more content to make it much more appealing. Okay. Let's jump into this. Of course, key dates, initial cybersecurity framework 2013, then 2018, some enhancement, improvement. Now, 2024, we have 2.0, which is amazing, really. What are the core functions? Let's talk about this real quick. Identify, say, let's think about risk, all of us, for a second. Thank you for saying that. Game changer. I love it. I love it. I mean, we put a lot of work. Now, some of you can tell that, hey, at Skillweed, we don't play games. Excellence is what we care about. We put the work, the discipline. We think and believe so strongly. Our team deserves the best all the time too. So we are sharing it first in our community. It's going to be all over LinkedIn too and other businesses. There's a business angle to it for business community also. We'll share that later. For those that want to do that, that'll be business package for them. But for our community, it's free for the basic part of it. So just enjoy it, no big deal. All right, think about risk. in our mind and say the core function is saying, how do we identify risk? How do we protect against risk? How do we detect those risks? How do we respond when there's a threat? How do we recover from a potential threat, right? Then the govern is the oversight in general. We are talking about, is there appropriate governance structure? Is there appropriate leadership structure? Because one of the most painful things I've seen is at the end of the day, you might have all of these things done. If you don't have a buy-in from your leadership, it's going to be a disaster, guaranteed. So it's so important and critical to all we do that we also bring in the leadership early. So what 2.0 has done for us, I think, is it put the spotlight on the leadership and said, okay, we are not, there's no hiding place. Nobody can say, well, we didn't know about it because of something happened. No, all of us are involved now. Everybody knows about it because you are part of that process, the ecosystem of that framework itself. So I thought that was brilliant. Okay, let's go to the next one. Govern, like we, anytime we hear the word govern, in our mind, think leadership, right? We're talking about what are the process around establishing guide rails, policies, procedures around every one of these areas. What are the key oversights within the business itself around risk management, around risk itself? All of these are huge, huge piece of the puzzle. So govern is great because unlike in the past that we had, liters of governance within the different areas, but this is really spelling it out and saying, okay, you guys have a role to play, which is huge and massive for most organizations also. Identify, as it implies, we're talking about key things in terms of identifying those risks, the prioritizing the risk, what is a strategy to build a risk plan ultimately also. So that's really what that is. That has not changed much. Protect, of course, access control is going to be a big deal for all of us, right? There's security awareness campaign to make sure that our team is very aware of the risk itself and knowledgeable about cyber threat. Then data security. At the end of the day, we can all agree um, data is the new oil or the new gold right now. So everything is around data. So it means the protection around the data must be a priority for us as an organization also. If you don't mind also, folks, jam the like button. Let's get more folks invited into the fold. Okay, detect is always a big one also because at the end of the day, we have to have a mechanism to detect if there's a threat within our organization, right? So that is the whole essence of detecting. Then, of course, the logs around those detect, right? Whatever issue we detect, there will be log we're analyzing and reviewing at the end of the day. So then there should be constant scanning, constant oversight of the logs that is fed within our system. Most time we use tools and those logs are analyzed. Remember, everything we do is really log. Is it a window log, sys log, audit log, or program log, whatever it is, there's always a log somewhere somebody's analyzing. And most of these tools are designed to analyze those logs very, very effectively. Okay. Somebody said data is the new oil. Gold. No need to go buy gold from. All right. Still buy your gold, but data is king. Okay. All right. Let's see. Respond is a big one. We're saying the key is it's not a function of if there's going to be an issue, it's when. All of us are going to deal with incidents, right? The question is, do we have a plan to respond? Everybody must have, every business structure must have a plan to respond when there is any major threat. So that's a big deal we should think about too. Recover at the end of the day, there's an incident which we all agree there's always going to be an incident at some point. But more importantly, how do we recover from those incidents, right? The recovery process is such a big deal and a big part of the puzzle. Now, when we think recovery, it's not just about we or our organization. We also have to think a little bit and say, wait a minute, we have external vendors helping us. Sometimes we bring law enforcement. So whatever layers involved in bringing the recovery smoother for us, we want to make sure we implement it also. What are the benefits? We can all agree: improve risk management, better leadership engagement, and wider adoption. So those are the key benefits in general. Implementation process in natural format. Every environment is different. And in our case today, we will go through some of these documents that I shared already. If you've not seen it, I'll reshare it again. Please don't forget again, go through it, download it. It's a gold mine. And I mean it. I'm saying this because I've done a lot of similar assessment in the past, and I know areas that make sense that leadership are looking for that will make you a rock star and make you successful immediately. Wherever you are in the world, I know you can use this to be successful for sure. Leverage it, take advantage of it. I want our folks to just be the best the world has to offer. Maximize yourself, put the work, put the discipline, have fun doing it too. All right, core function details, like we said, govern is the new one. You can see what it's talking about here. The overall organizational context, right? The structure of the business, the mission, the stakeholders, the expectation, roles, and responsibility defined. Those basic things are there. Then we talk about risk management strategy. What is our strategy in terms of our risk appetite, tolerance in general? Then your roles and responsibility well defined. Then what is the policy we've built? And it's not just building policy, how do we communicate this policy? Is there an oversight process in place? Very big deal. Then, of course, do we have supply chain risk management, meaning our third parties always coming? How do we implement a risk management for those third party also? Then, of course, identify asset management is a big one, risk assessment. And for those of us in our regular program, you will notice there's a reason we take some topics. Now you can see the reason because we benchmark it to all of these key framework that are key in any environment. And the beautiful thing is that this is what most environment will be doing anyway, right? So we make sure we cover those relevant topics big time. Then you can see protect, we have identity access management, the data security, platform security, because all of us right now, platform is always used extensively across the board. So the security around it is equally important. Technology infrastructure, the risk around it is evaluated also. Detect, we can agree we should all have a mechanism to detect if there's a threat. That's really what the key is here. It means the tool must be able to monitor consistently threats within our business also. Then respond, of course. It's not enough to detect a problem. How do we respond? What is our plan, our strategy to respond? That is a big deal. If there should be an incident management or incident response plan, how do we analyze the incident? Then how do we report? It's not enough to identify it as an issue, but how do we report and communicate to the appropriate stakeholders also? Recover, we can all agree at the end of the day when there's problems and there should be a plan to recover. It's easy to think that this is it's a common thing, or it's not a common thing rather. It is a common thing. People deal with a lot of problems, a lot. Of course, they are not obliged in some cases to report everything to the news, but believe it or not, a lot of organizations deal with cyber threat every day. It's a big nightmare all the time. As a matter of fact, for some of you, you've seen the news, healthcare has been affected recently, crazy. A lot of incidents, a lot of issues. It's crazy. So make sure you know that, if you don't have a plan, then that's a disaster waiting already. Okay. All right. Then the other thing we talked about was a maturity model to kind of assess and score how different domain areas are doing. And don't overthink it. If you go to your hospital, they will ask you on a scale of 1 to 5, what's your pain level, or 1 to 10. You say, well, it's 2 if the pain is not crazy. Now, if the pain is bad, you're going to say 8, 9, 10, right? So the same thing is just a maturity model to kind of give us an idea of the model in terms of where we rank. For example, it's a model of 1 to 5. 1 means it's horrible, it's bad, right? It means it's chaotic. You've done nothing. It's just horrible. 2 is that, okay, baseline, you're just there, but it's not really well organized still, it's planned, it's measured, but it's not organized. 3 means the processes are well defined, and this is the baseline acceptable benchmark, so to speak. The 4, the 5 means it's better. Now, I tell my team, some of you on this call, when you push somebody to 5 in your mind, then all I'm asking is make sure you can defend it, right? That's fair. Because 5 means you're looking and saying the chance of a breach, yeah, is really, really slim. So be careful when you give somebody that kind of grade, right? So I try to be conservative. For me to push you to 5, I can push you. I will probably push you, but I need good evidences. Let me give an example. So if you tell me, you know what, I have an asset management process in place, policy defined, We have a tracker for asset management. And hold on, by the way, every day we have a tool that track our network if there's a new asset added. Then monthly, we have an audit that goes and check our audit physically or manually. So now I can see there is a huge, solid, consistent oversight going on. So, well, I can live with that, right? Because it's mature. It's a good process because they are really proactive on it. So I can use the evidence to say this is my rationale for pushing you to fire. But if I don't have something like that, a baseline, solid use case to get me there, I will respectfully just keep you at 3 or 4 max, right? So think from that angle. Think and say somebody can chew you and I and say, okay, tell me why you gave a 5. You better be ready to give me good answers, or else I would feel, hey, you don't just go around giving gifts like, um, Miss Oprah Winfrey. So you have to make sure that you have a solid use case and you have the supporting evidence to back it up in that case. Somebody says CISA was even hit recently. Yeah. Now that's sad. I didn't even follow that. The Critical Infrastructure Security Agency in the US was hit recently. I didn't even notice that. But that's a big news there. If they were hit, that's pretty bad. The one I know this week, some of you are part of it, was the allegedly Russian attack the on Microsoft. So that's the current news most of us have been dealing with for the last few days, right? So it's still allegedly. Nobody has the concrete information yet, but that's what the news have been throwing out there. Okay, somebody said I should add the link. Yes, let me add the link again. Please, everybody, download the tool. Now, let's jump into the tool now so you can see how we use it. This is going to be fun, folks. You'll love it. All right, let's quickly share the screen. So we will quickly, I'll just show you how the tool is used. Some of you have started playing with it already. I'm so happy and proud that you guys are already, doing some good stuff with it. I mean, when you build a solution, that's what we expect. Just make sure you should, nothing is more painful if you have, you build something and you only realize later that, oh my God, you would have been better off to have been using it because life would happen. I needed to remember anytime to tell someone that, hey, you know what, I have a solution I can recommend or use for us in our business, in our program to be effective. Now, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just play with this, for example. So this is the govern area, for example, right? If I come here and I say, based on the response of this, okay, the one I shared with us as a team was, I'm not sure the one I shared, but let me see this. Was this the one I shared? Okay, let me see the one I shared. Give me 1 second to see the one I shared in the community to make sure we are using the same document here. Let's see. Okay, give me 1 second to pull that out. So the one I shared is going to be something that we can all at least, use and be on the same page when we use it. Let's see. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me open that for us to enjoy this. Now, the one you're looking right now, I think, well, I'll just show you what it looks like, but it will be for someone that's, I'll just go ahead and use it. I think it should work still. Okay, let me show you all. So imagine you're doing an assessment and you change the score. Let's say you change the score based on the question, you know, um, let's say whatever the response is there. Let's say response. You can put the response there. Response, whatever the response is, you can score it. So if the response is, let's say it's 1 year, 2, let's say yes, 1, maybe it's horrible. Yeah, I can change the response to 3. You can use your judgment to change the response of this client, whatever they say. Now look at what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm changing the response, the domain area is changing. You can see a governance change to 2.9. Let me go back to govern. Let's say hypothetically I make this 5. I make this 5. Look at what's going to happen in the function. It has moved to 3.1. So as you're working and doing assessment, automatically it is scoring each of those domain area for you. Now let's take it even make it weird. You can actually go to the subcategory to be specific. So if I go back to if I come back here, these are the subcategories, right? So this is the main category here, right? This is the category, let's say organizational context. So these are the children under organizational context. You can see GVOC01, GVOC02. So it will break it down as I'm scoring this card. It's breaking it down specific in real time for me. This is crazy stuff. So you can see, let me give you one, let's use one as a, so 3.8. So let's say hypothetically, let's call this, let's make it really bad. Right now it's 3.8, but I'm going to make it bad. I change the score to 1, just make it really horrible. Let's see. Okay, let's just make it a little bit bad. Let's make this 2. Okay, let's do this 2. Now look at the score now. When I go back, you can see here 2.0. It has changed. Now somebody is asking me, how does this matter? It matters a lot because it allows you to make decision and tell leadership gaps. If you have 2/5, if you look at all of this governance structure now, if you were to make a decision on which area your leadership should focus on, that is a bigger risk. Let me ask you, looking at this area, which one would you tell me is a bigger risk? Tell me. I want to see your comment. I'm going to put it in yellow. This one's in yellow right now. Which one would you tell me is a bigger risk? Can you type it, please? Let me see what you guys think. Tell me what you think. Which is the bigger risk? All right, I'm waiting. Which of this is a bigger risk? Looking at this right now. And go ahead and type. All right. Now, you all would agree with me. Okay, policy, thank you. You can tell that is what it is because it shows that that is an area that is low. Now, you might tell me, okay, wait a minute. Now, you can see, you can figure out correlation. You know, you can, somebody said, I would also be worried about the policy. Yes, and leadership like dashboard, of course. Now, you can see that there's a correlation. I can now start thinking in my head and say, okay, you know what? What's going on here? Is there a pattern? Could it be that, you know, because I'm confused. If you have 4.5 in roles defined, right? And your policy is 1.5. In my head, I'm thinking there's a problem. You can't tell me roles are defined and policy is 1.5. It means two things. One, either we have the wrong leadership in place in the first place, because they don't understand that policy needs to be built so that the organization can follow their direction through policy. Secondly, I would likely think it's a training issue. I'm likely going to think it's the number 2, that it's a training issue, meaning our leadership, we need to train them on the importance of policies because the leadership seems to know what they are doing by the roles and responsibilities. They have 4.5 there. So it means, well, they seem to know what they are doing. They're just sloppy, lousy folks that are not focused on building policies. That is the way I can look at it and read it. Now, it doesn't mean that's the case. Sometimes it may not be the case, but that's the reality. Those are the kind of ways you can see patterns. So, you have no idea what this is. Honestly, if somebody's there and they've been consulting, they will appreciate what this is really. To be honest, it's crazy stuff. This is crazy stuff. This is, you start seeing patterns in real time. These are things that will take you crazy hours time to figure out before. But with this is crazy. You know, somebody said in real life, would you have to do an assessment for all 6 functions? It depends on the organization. Sometimes, remember again, most people, there's something we call assessment fatigue. A lot of people are tired of you doing a lot of assessment. So that is why you need a tool like this, because this will make it fast. It's not like you're going to wait too long. Yeah, in real time, you ask the question, their response will make you give them a score, and it's giving you an aggregate of the ecosystem of the whole domain areas within their environment. So you can easily say, oh, okay, it's faster. And honestly, people just want fast now. People don't have time to say, well, we are doing like, months of assessment. It's crazy. Somebody said, can this tool be used in all industries? Remember again, the beautiful thing is that CSF 2.0 is defined to be across the board. In the past, 1.1 was more focused on critical infrastructure domain, even though you can adopt it to use in other industry. But this is really designed to be used for multiple industry. That's a beautiful thing. So yeah, the answer is yes. You can use it across. Of course, like anything else, sometimes you customize a little bit, especially the questionnaires. You might, if you're in oil and gas, if you say, what kind of regulation do you use? You might just put a comment around OSHA. If you are focusing privacy around UK, you might add or ask question around GDPR. If it's in the US and it's healthcare, you might ask specific around HIPAA. So you might put a few nuances, but the fundamentals are, to me, 90% the same thing. You might change a few things, but most of the things are the same thing. Let me show you another one. Most of you would have access to this. The only thing you would have access to in the one I gave to you is the management part of it. So the management part, well, but you have access to everything now, which is good enough, to be honest. But the management part is for businesses. So we built it also for businesses. So that would be a paid version category. But everything else you can use really. So if you're a business and you need a management scorecard, yes, then that's a different thing. Now, if you want to, figure out how many counts, which you can do manually yourself, but it's just this is automated. So I want to see, well, what are those high risk areas that I think we should focus on in govern 9. So you can see all the red ones in 9, identifying. So you can see the summary and say, okay, wait a minute. If you're a leader, let me ask you, if you're in a leadership role, looking at this, for example, which of this will be your priority? Let's think together. If you're in a leadership role today, which of this will be your priority? Which of this? So these are all the domain area, right? Govern. Let me make it collapse. Okay, let's collapse it. Look at this. This is the executive summary. And we can break it down to get into the details, but let's keep it this way. If you're a leader, which of these would be your priority? Which one would you? I want to see everybody's response, if you don't mind, please. Go ahead. All right, I love that. Somebody said govern. Absolutely. Okay, somebody said detect. Okay. Okay. Now remember again, remember detect has only one high risk. If you notice, somebody said detect. Okay. 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 All right. Let's go back there. Let me go back and show you. Let's see something. Okay. I see somebody said detect. Okay. Fair point. All right. Now, the way I look at it, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Okay. Think about yourself. Think of the optics. You want to go tell your manager or your CEO that I'm going to focus on detect that has one risk, one high risk, versus govern that has 9 high risk. Let's pause. Think for a second. Let me take it again. You are going to tell your CEO or CISO or CIO, I want you to focus on detect. Now, it's possible you're right if it's a critical one that is maybe a new virus that is out there all over the place and we need a tool to do this. No. I get it. So that's what you have to think about. Yes, you might have a use case to do that, but also think a little bit. Make sure your use case is strong for you to tell me I should prioritize the one that has one high risk. Because we said high risk means high risk, right? So your use case must be good enough to tell me a domain area that has 9 high risk versus the one that has 1 or 3 high risk, to prioritize which one. So I'll leave it at that. But that's the way you have to think about it. Okay, my use case must be strong to convince my leadership that invest more in this because of this reason. But conventional wisdom will say the 9 high risk should be my first focus, immediate, right? Then we now start going to other ones. I mean, just the optics of the numbers that, okay, this is the messed up area. 9 is a lot naturally from the numbers, right? So that's where you have to think about it. But this is really for management to make good decision. And they can drill down and say, okay, wait a minute, out of this 9, let's see, what is the core area? Okay, I look at this. If I look at it, I will now see their score. Out of this 9, I may say this is 1.5, maybe this is higher risk. Let's go to the one that has detect that has 1, maybe 2.1. So that's 1.25. Okay. So you look at the weakness, the numbers, and that will give you an idea of where we need to invest our resources at any point in time. Hopefully that was helpful, but that's the way we have to think about that. Okay, investment in resources. Remember again, leadership mostly don't care about our big talk, all the operational stuff, people doing all their normal stuff. Oh, I'm in cloud, I'm doing DevOps, I'm doing cyber, identity access management, I'm an archivist. Okay, God bless your heart, good job. Management don't care about that. They want to see the risk. They want to see how it will impact the organization itself. The reason we have a job is because organization is fine. Remember, okay, don't forget that. So it's so important. This governance and all of these core function areas are focused on, because the implication of violating some of these things and not understanding the risk can be very costly for most organizations. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Now, if you just joined, thank you. Welcome on board. We're just showing one of the tools we built within our community. NIST CSF 2.0 came out last week or 26, 2 weeks ago or so. And here we are in 2 weeks. We built a solution that can be used and enhanced, to make you a superstar. I genuinely believe that. So leverage it, play with the tool, navigate around it, have fun doing it, and just enjoy it. Let's see. Somebody said, is it possible to invest in the lower score because it costs the org more not to immediately attend to it versus the 9? It is possible, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm just giving the optics is what I just mentioned. Sometimes, because think about, if you're a leader and you see 9 versus 1, I would need better explanation on why, number one, a domain that has just one problem should be my priority. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean it's not possible. It's definitely, there are many use cases for that to justify it. So I understand, I agree with you. However, you have to have good ammunition to convince your leadership. It's just the optics. Think of you. I'm sure you question. If I do that to you, you question me too. That, hey, wait a minute, dude. A domain area has 9 big critical risk or high risk. Another one has 1 high risk. So why are you telling me to invest on the one that has, 1 high risk? It's fair question, right? The fair reasoning. So, and that's honestly what all of us are leaders. That's the truth. That's what your leaders will think. Sometimes we overthink this because the way you're thinking is what someone else will think. That's the truth, really. They might have more experience thinking that way, but it's the same thing, really. So they may not spill it out in public. They might call you one on one and say, hey, dude, what's the story? Why are we focused on the govern versus the identify? And you can tell me and say, you know what? There's a new virus that came out. It's critical. It has paralyzed our vendors. This is a big issue right now. We need to fix it. That's fair. That makes sense. All of us will agree immediately. But I'm just saying generically, in general terms, the messaging, just package the messaging. Let's put it that way. Just make the messaging make sense to your leadership to rationalize why you're choosing one over the other. If it's reasonable, people will understand. It's normal, no big deal. So, all right, cool. Thank you so much, everybody. But now, from an interview context, like everything else, ladies and gentlemen, the truth is that what we did over the weekend is what you do in a general assessment most of the time. You're going to collaborate, work with other people, work with team members. That's the drill. That's the way it works, okay? And if you don't have access to this solution, please make sure you do. I will send it again. I've sent it already. Just download it. And, honestly, like I said, it's important for us to make sure our community enjoys stuff first. You'll see a lot of people have access to this from next week in other domain areas, a lot on LinkedIn and professional circuits that we're going to share it with them. But naturally, before I do stuff like that, my community would enjoy it first. Let's throw it with our own team. And then it becomes a open house for everybody else. So make sure you download it. If not, you'll be seeing it in public space from next week. All right, cool. The final thing we do, it's the last, and don't worry, folks, it's not like the last time we are meeting on anything. It's just for the internship program. Every great thing always have a time. We will just give it a pause and we move to other things. But let me quickly share a Kahoot. If you've never used Kahoot, it's one of our gaming that we do. It's pretty cool. You will love it. All right, let me start the Kahoot. It's typically just to get your uh, to get a feedback for the program. There are some things we already always are always excited to, and believe it or not, we take it serious. Every one of our feedback is important to us, and we circulate it for other people. So let's find a little bit of trouble. Team Arsenal. All right, Chelsea. I know I also get mad at this. Then let's go to Man U, Manchester. Go, Manchester. Okay, okay. All right. So let's see. If you don't mind, let's go to Kahoot. The pin is 1874153. Let me try and share it in the group real quick. And again, your feedback is always appreciated. It's the way we improve our program. Everything we do, every feedback, we take it serious and we try to make sure we can implement some of the changes, recommendation you provide to us to make this a better program really, at the end of the day. And I'll share it with the regular group also in case we miss it. We can also share that. Okay. Let's give everybody else another 30 seconds and we get started. Kahoot is Kahoot. Let's have more people join. It's a fun game. Always nice. Just join. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And for those of us that always join our AI and U session, it's always a beautiful thing. It's a great section. We always come together, learn some new things around AI. All of us on this call, I would like to encourage you, make sure you're always part of that AI program. It's always great because, believe it or not, our lives have to be efficient now. This is an era of efficiency. It's the attention economy right now. So we need to figure out ways to be as efficient in our businesses as much as possible. So I challenge us, let's make sure we have leverage all the time. Just make sure we have leverage, take advantage of it. Anything we put together in the community, I recommend, if you don't have time, always go back to listening. It's always nice because we design it for us to be the best in our team, in our game. So take advantage of it. All right, let's get started with the Kahoot real quick. And let's just enjoy the comments together. Okay, let's start the first one. All right. And feel free, just to get some feedback. If not, my team is going to be on my case. So we need to make sure we get our feedback. How do you enjoy the program itself in general? Um, let's go. How do you enjoy the program? And still feel free to please go ahead and still join. Even, yeah, just go ahead and still join. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much. How would you describe your instructor? I think, oh man. Okay. Let's see. I've seen many people describe in many ways. Oh man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I'll keep challenging us as a team, as a community. Just let's keep doing more, believing in ourselves, and just keep adding value to yourself every day. That's all we can control, right? Okay, let's go. Ways to improve the program. Let's just go ahead. Just give us some feedback also. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's go. Ways you think we can improve it. You are doing this yourself. What would you do? Recommend. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay. What do you think of the event collaboration? When we do collaboration, what do you think? We've had good collaboration on Saturday sessions where we try to get our folks together. What do you think about those? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. What did you enjoy the most? Thank you. And if you don't mind, please go ahead and smash the like for us. That's one of the ways you can help impact us and the community the most. I just click like so we can have more people join the page. Thank you for liking, folks. Thank you. All right, we're almost done. Thank you, everybody. How much information that you needed did you get in the program? Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. All right. What is an ideal job for you? Remember again, we try to make sure we can work on some projects so that you can own those projects in interview. That is ultimately the goal. Um, yeah, it's not designed especially um, for the conventional way, like to start. It's really mostly for you to be able to own projects and talk about it in an interview. All right, let's see some of the ideal jobs. Cyber GRC, unsure, third party, value, yes, yes, okay, fair point. All right, let's see. If you could participate in a mentorship, what would you hope to achieve in 6 months? If you could participate in a mentorship program, what would you hope to achieve in 6 months? All right, thank you. Thank you. Policy, career financial, good job, be an expert. Okay, more knowledge, GRTC, GRC. Okay. All right, we're almost done. If you could change one thing in the program, what would it be? Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. We are almost done. Thank you, everybody. Definitely, there are a lot of opportunities for improvements from us, for our community. We keep working on it for sure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right. So we challenge each other. We just be an advocate of others. Let's keep impacting one person at a time. You know how to get us if you need us. Just hit info@skillweed.com. Join our WhatsApp community. We have our LinkedIn community and Instagram community. Let's keep doing great things together. And I can't wait to see all the great things that would happen in your story. As always, a delight to be part of your story. We just want to be a footnote in your story of greatness. God bless and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll talk soon, everybody.